welcome
back.
He's
Neil.
and he's Bill.
And
Random
Tangent
starts
now.
Ta-da!
Ah! Why are you naked?
I don't know.
Where'd your clothes go?
How you doing, everybody? This is Bill.
And I'm Neil.
We think. And this, as you saw in the intro, is Random Tangent. I do apologize for that. Nobody wanted to see that much pasty.
No. The lights really just kind of reflected.
You know, it was really kind of sad because I'm looking in there like, God.
This was the wake-up call you needed.
No one.
We are returning this week to our favorite topic.
Object?
Yep, our favorite subject. Video games.
Porn.
No, the favorite topic that we can discuss with them and not have everyone go run shrieking for the hills. I mean, we'll tell you what kind of porn we like if you really want it, but I don't think you want to go down that particular rabbit hole.
Which, ironically enough, is one of the topics in there. So first thing I want to do, of course, we got to say like, subscribe, share. Mm-hmm. That's the big one. We got to get that out of the way so you people... That's the part, no, that's ironically, anytime I watch a YouTube video, the part I fast forward to.
Yeah.
Before we start the video, shut up. You
need to start sneaking it in there. And then this week, like...
And then I'm going to get tattooed.
Yeah.
Oh! You guess what I'm going to get subscribed tattooed?
No, don't. Subscribe to D's Nuts!
How'd you know? Before we get
Where else do you put it?
Well, I'm thinking sub, no. Share, no. Like, no, that doesn't work. Nothing has an O in it.
No.
Like, subscribe, share, as always. Before we get this video kicking off, I got two things I want to address real quick. One, we possibly have two other subscribers. One we know for sure. The other one's supposedly going to do it. I'll get her to do it later.
Okay.
Autumn, Kelsey, thank you. I'm the idiot you talk to all the time.
I'm friend of idiot.
He's Fat Jesus. I'm the buffet enthusiast.
Yes, but thank you. Hello to our new 15th subscriber.
Yay!
You need anything? How you doing? Get her a water. Come
on. Also, the second thing I'd like to say, Frank, we know you're out there. We know you watch. Love you, buddy. On a side note to that, though, I'd like to quickly address a wonderful charity that Frank is actually involved in. Our buddy Frank, who's one of the subscribers and a longtime friend of mine. He's like a brother. A fat Mexican brother, but a brother. I mean, you know. I'm halfway there. Shut up.
Everything but the Mexican part.
Shut up.
You double down on fat to make up for it.
Listen, you tubby fuck. So, what I'd like to do is address a charity that our friend and subscriber and longtime friend of mine and Neil's, Frank, is involved in, which is a motorcycle club called Just Us Few. They are a charity, nonprofit organization. They do charity work. For more details and information and to do all that fun stuff, go to, we're going to put a link in the description right below here, and we'll put a link in the description below the video. It's justusfewmc.com. And just go take a look at them. It's good to see that we have these organizations out there that are doing their best to help other people in need, people who need the help. So please feel free to go there, take a look at them, donate, help, however you can.
Today's topic.
Random tangent.
Today we're going to be talking about, we've talked about video games before in the past. We've played a lot of video games, between him and I, probably at least 10.
Maybe 11.
Yeah. Today. But.
Yeah.
I think every gamer has...
Get it?
Every gamer has probably a game or two that for them is just more than a game. It wasn't just something you played. Might not necessarily be the best game you ever played, but it's one that left like a lasting impact on you. It's a game you were maybe obsessed with.
Like herpes.
Not everything is like herpes.
Okay, it's like AIDS.
Go with herpes. Anyway, every gamer has the game that for them is maybe an obsession, if you want to say it, but something that it affected their lives, that they still think back to fondly, that they would probably pay a good amount of money to go back and be able to play it again. Play it again, Sam. The way it was the first time around. And Bill and I have picked, each of us, the game that was that for us. So, Bill, would you like to go first? What was your game?
I'm leaving again.
Okay. What was your game?
My game was a game that's a game.
Okay.
So that's easy enough. All right, your turn. My game was actually it came out towards the end of the life cycle of the Nintendo 64. Holy crap, a Nintendo system being talked about. Microsoft, we love you.
Mm-hmm.
Send us things.
Yeah.
We will pimp the hell out of it.
We are not above being whores.
No, not even in the least. I will literally sit there on a video and be like, Microsoft told me to do this, and I'm bleeding from the rectum, and I love it. Like, I don't care. I want some gift boxes. I want to see some of the cool stuff. I want some swag.
Don't be looking at us like we have integrity or anything. No.
Have you seen this show? We don't have integrity with food. Believe me.
We embarrassed ourselves over a bunch of White Castles that they didn't pay us for. I went and paid them to get that box.
Which, by the way, White Castle?
That's another one.
Actually, pretty much anybody that wants to sponsor us with stuff.
Anything.
Doesn't
Food,
matter what
games.
it is. Porn.
So
Bill, Conker's Bad Fur Day was my game. It came out towards the end of the life cycle in Nintendo 64. It was actually kind of a unknown game due to the fact that it came out at the end of the life cycle of Nintendo 64. By the time it had actually been released on the Nintendo system, PlayStation had already gotten a pretty big hold. We were starting to move into that next-gen kind of leap there. So there was a lot of...
I'd say the PlayStation already had a hold of that point, because I remember playing Resident Evil 2 on the 64.
I think it was a PlayStation 2.
Yeah, I think that might have just been moving out towards that generation.
PlayStation 2, Xbox, Dreamcast. So by this point, this system had actually, it was done. It was at its end. So not a lot of those were actually made. The game itself, honestly, I can't really tell you. I can tell you what made it so amazing at the beginning. What made it amazing at the beginning is because you play this game as Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Made by Rare, right?
Made by Rare. Made by Rare Games, which, for anybody who don't know, they made Battletoads, they made...
Their partnership,
God.
We've talked about their partnership with Nintendo before. It was an excellent run they had together. So many great games.
Matter of fact, they're still out there, too, doing some pretty interesting things here and there.
Wait to see CSPs.
Team members. Oh, God, that's going to be interesting. So, Conker's Bad Fur Day actually came out at the back end of the Nintendo 64 life cycle. It was a game made by Rare, which, as we've discussed in a previous video, Rare had a pretty long run with Nintendo in terms of quality games. I mean, they had a lot of quality games.
Even on that system, the 64, they had Blast Corps.
Blast Corps,
was it Perfect Dark?
Perfect Dark,
GoldenEye.
GoldenEye was... which is surprising that nobody ever thought to bring that out again. That was the pinnacle of... That started the first-person shooter genre.
Yeah, the multiplayer first-person shooter. And we remember the TVs we had, they're tiny, and we're still playing like 4-player split screen. Our TVs are huge now. Bring that shit back.
Right? Now, what was amazing to me was you had this game with this furry little squirrel. Now, for those of you who don't know the history of Conker, Conker was originally created. He actually had 2 other games prior to this. He had not 2 other games. He had a game by himself on the Game Boy, and he had a game where he was one of the characters in Diddy Kong Racing.
Yeah,
that's what he was created for.
Yeah,
that's what he was created for.
Another cutesy little character in the Diddy
Goofy
Kong
looking little squirrel
racing game. Yeah.
So I want you to think about that. So here's this little cute platform with this little cute squirrel, and here's a little kart racing game, and the theme of Mario Kart and all of that with Diddy Kong, and so you see where he's going.
Generally, that's what Rare was doing at the time. They were making these cutesy little characters and cutesy little games. They're fun, but
Well, then they came out with Conker's Bad Fur Day,
which was originally going to be a different game entirely. I think it's called like Conker's Quest or something like that.
Yes, it was
supposed to be along the same line, cutesy little animated fun game, and everyone was like, ugh, another one of these, seriously, Rare?
Yeah, pretty much.
To which Rare was like, okay.
Yeah, you want to play like that? Okay. Hold on a second. Reprogram it all.
What did we get?
So let me give you some highlights of Conker's Bad Fur Day for the people out there that may not have played it. I do want to pop this little piece of information in there too. The one thing that can be said about my game is they did try on the original Xbox, the Xbox One, true one. They did try bringing out a remake.
Live and Reloaded.
Live and Reloaded. The problem was it was neither live nor reloaded.
No.
It was garbage, and it was hot garbage. The game itself, the main game itself, stayed the same. They modified
They
updated the graphics, and they edited part of it.
Yeah. It looked better. Played, I think, the same.
Played the same, essentially.
But
the big
censored
problem,
it.
Yeah, they censored it, and then the big problem they had with Xbox censored it.
They censored a game that was okay on a Nintendo system.
Let me just let you go ahead and take a second, mull that around in your head. Yeah, exactly. It's messed up, isn't it?
Well, let's talk about when it came out originally on the Nintendo 64. What was in that was so...
Well, let's start off. Mr. Conker starts his story off by getting into a fight with his girlfriend, Barry.
A much larger gray squirrel.
With giant tits.
Prominently displayed.
Proceeds to go to the bar and get chest wasted. In which case he wanders out of the bar and falls down a hole. And so begins the adventure of Conker. Now the first character you meet is Birdie. Birdie, yeah, Birdie. I'm Birdie. Birdie is a scarecrow who has done a lot of some kind of drug. Because he doesn't even speak right. Context sensitive. It's just, a buddy, scared of buddies. I'm a buddy scarecrow. And I'm not even exaggerating. That's how he talks. He just kind of mumbles along in this weird, kind of half there, half not mentality. This game is filled with a giant poo monster.
Do you remember the sunflower?
I was trying not to.
Well,
A sunflower with giant tits.
Not only do you fight a giant poo monster, what does he attack you with?
Giant poo. Corn.
And there's a sunflower.
Sunflower with giant tits. They're trying to get him.
She's bashful at first, and you have to get her to
be less bashful.
So you can jump on them.
Dump on them, and then eventually get the king of the bees to go flirt with him because he's leaving his wife. You see where I'm going with this?
Besides all that, a lot of pop culture and movie references that started.
Matrix.
Started that was actually Clockwork Orange.
Clockwork Orange, yeah.
Sitting in there. There's the alien xenomorph that you fight.
The alien. You got aliens. Well, aliens.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Matrix. You got Clockwork Orange. You've got...
There's a bunch in there.
Jesus, I can't even think of all of them. There's a ton of them. Now,
well,
the thing that made me laugh the most was Saving Private Ryan.
Okay.
Saving Private Ryan was in there as you storm the beaches as squirrels. What are squirrels storm the beaches against, you ask? That is funny. And nobody would ever guess what that would be. How about Nazi teddy bears?
Two things that you can't imagine ever being together at any other point in time. Nazis, teddy bears.
Oh, and they speak German.
Yeah.
I'm
not sure actual German, just angry screaming, but...
It's same thing. But the funniest thing, the thing about that game that made it so good was not only was the story amazing, and there were so many different things, it had, bar none, the best multiplayer experience ever. Now, mind you, this is back before Xbox Live. And
early days of, I'd say, multiplayer playing. Are you getting distracted by something?
Stand by. The thing that made this game truly stand out...
I would say... when we started to do this episode, we had like a little criteria we hit for our games, where we had to, like, we want to do a brief history of each of our games, like what made them special to us, any specific memories we have of, or like really good memories we have of the game playing it. We just decided like how well is that game
held up.
Not so much held up, but how well does it represent its.
How it's held up and how it's represented.
Yeah, all right, yeah, and you're playing the game now. How would it be? Yeah.
So yeah.
Is it still possible? And it's. Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, so I think one of the things that definitely made it stand out as a game by itself is, as a platformer, it was solid. I mean, there was nothing super wrong. I did enjoy the fact that there was a lot of there was a lot of like hidden spots, and they really played with the Easter egg stuff a lot, and it was a solid Rare game.
I think it's lengthy too.
It was a decent length game.
You got your money's worth.
And it wasn't easy.
No,
it wasn't. And the other thing too is it had some of the best cheats. Like they had a lot of fun cheats you could put in. They actually had a cheat code section. For those of you that don't remember, there used to be a time when You actually found cheat codes by going online or going in a magazine and looking up
online.
looking up things, not taking a credit card and swiping. Our cheats were a little
I'm
different.
surprised consoles don't have that. No, you're just gonna.
Yeah, just put your card in and come out later. Don't make jokes. I guarantee somebody, probably Sony's going to be the first one to do that. And it's going to be the Battlefront 2 edition. I think the thing that got me most, the most memorable thing for me on that game was and has always been the multiplayer. It had some of the funnest multiplayer designed maps. Mm-hmm. There weren't a lot.
It also had different kinds of multiplayer.
Yes.
Like you just played multiplayer as a thing. They had like the capture the flag, which I loved.
They had the base defense one. Mm-hmm. They had that little one, which was awesome. Because it was based off of killing the Jews. No, that part of the game.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, there was Jew squirrels, too. Did I mention that?
We talked Nazi teddies and yeah.
Full Holocaust action in animated form.
On a Nintendo platform.
On a Nintendo. That would later be edited on a... Yeah, this is what we're saying.
Microsoft eventually bought Rare, and they decided to re-release this game as, so much in there that people loved. And then they were like, oh, no, we can't do any of that. But someone had to be like, you knew what you're getting into, right?
You were there when you made that, right? How high were you that you forgot? But the game itself was fun. I mean, we put a lot of hours into that game just playing it. It was just this entertaining game. It was fun because, and once again, you were on a little screen playing 2 players, 3 players, 4 players, and the whole time you're playing, I mean, it was nuts. I remember they had the samurai sword. You go lob somebody's head right off.
Oh, you violently do.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Slice somebody in 2. It was fantastic.
Little teddy bears and squirrels.
I mean, it was a great... They had the weasels that were robbers. And there was one... I don't specifically remember now. What's really cool is, like we discussed in this, is it's still playable in its format today. And I think
Playing
we can
the game
say...
today is how to be.
I think we can say pretty much for any game, it's playable today if you can find the right ROM and find the right emulator. There's a way to play the game. But the question is, can you play it in the format as it was intended? Mm-hmm. Luckily,
how does it stack up compared to the playing it originally?
Yes, and the cool thing about it is, if you own an Xbox One, they came out with this. This here is... It's called Rare Replay. What's really cool about this, 30 games for was $30 when it was new. Mm-hmm. This came out about 2 years ago. And what's cool about this is Conker's Bad Fur Day is actually included in this. In its original format.
Version.
The original Nintendo 64 format of Conker's Bad Fur Day is on this disc. What's really cool about this is you also get a bunch of other Rare games, of course. Some of the big ones, Perfect Dark Zero. So you actually get both of them.
Both the Viva Pinatas.
Both. Nobody cares about that.
I love you.
Killer Instinct Gold. Cameo, which was a pretty good one. And then the cool thing about this, Battletoads, it even jumps all the way back to, like, Nintendo. I mean, you have the original
even games
Slalom.
before Nintendo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rare's been around for a while. We've discussed this before.
RC Pro-Am.
And they went through and basically went through all the 30 years of their gaming. 30 games, $30. That's the big thing about it.
Trying to find it. There's the Blast Corps. Yours is in here.
Loved it.
Jetpack. You have Battletoads and Battletoads Arcade. You have every Banjo and Kazooie.
I read they actually went through and fixed Battletoads so you can actually get through it. There was a famous glitch where you couldn't beat the game.
I'm trying to find the one Grabbed by the Ghoulies. That was a huge one. Mm-hmm. I'm not seeing it on here.
So playing, how would you say playing that? Pretty much the same as playing it originally? Can you?
No.
And
it doesn't fall down to the game. The game itself mechanically is exactly the same. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure if I put in a little extra time, it would be a little better. I didn't really play too much into it, which is sad. Like I said, I've had this for a couple of years now. I'm actually probably going to keep this down here and play it over there every once in a while now just to get back into it. But the thing about Conker's Bad Fur Day in this format isn't the game. Like I said, the game is its original Nintendo 64 format unchanged. The multiplayer, the cheat codes, everything it's the same game. It's the controls. And what it is if anybody who doesn't remember the Nintendo 64 controller, it was a very weird. Look it up. It's a weird controller. Maybe you can find a picture and plop it up over here.
No.
But it was kind of this weird, like bat symbol.
Yeah.
Bat symbol. It was a bat symbol gone rogue, and it had like one joystick
in the middle and a button behind that, or you could put your hand over here.
Yeah, it was weird. But
like today, when we were holding a controller and we can just move our thumbs, now we had to like reposition our hands to grab different things.
You're like that. It was weird. But they kept that control scheme. Although I never did look to see if maybe there isn't a way to change the control scheme. I'll check that. But you know, on a standard controller these days, you have 2 joysticks. They eliminate a joystick out of there, and they make it actually used for something else.
Okay.
So this is all your controls, and then this is just kind of here. So it's a little bit different, and it takes some getting used to. That being said, if you're willing to put that extra probably 15, 20 minutes of gameplay in just to get a good rhythm,
accustomed to it,
it's no different. It's the same game, down to the multiplayer, down to the storyline, unedited. Because when you hear the giant poo sing, magic.
I thought your moment that you'd think back to was like, here I am, I'm fighting this giant poo monster, and then it starts singing.
Or when you have to piss on the fire demons.
And then it starts singing, and then it starts throwing corn at me. Yeah. And I couldn't play the game. I had to pause it and laugh for 20 minutes.
Yeah, that game presented a whole...
I'm curious,
like Death. Do you remember Death from that game? For those who don't know, Death was about this tall.
Yeah, okay,
And he had this little squeaky voice. So he's like talking to Conker, and Conker's like, seriously? Like, you're Death? I'll kill you. I mean, it was... Every character was thought out.
Yeah, a lot of good British humor in there.
Which, I mean, at the end of the day, it's rare.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, these people, I mean...
They know how to make a quality product.
They do.
Don't look at the Kinect sports games. Right. On to my game. As soon as you're done farting. Are you ever done, or are you just there pauses between?
Pauses.
Some are longer than others. Well, my game for this, what game really affected you, obsession, whatever, is a computer game, moving away from the consoles that we normally talk about.
Just make sure it's on Microsoft.
What?
Make sure it's Microsoft related. Even if you just run it on Windows.
It did run on Windows,
Okay, that's
yes.
good. Remember, we're trying to...
Yeah.
Microsoft rules!
Technically made by Sony, though, so I'm not sure how that's going to play out.
Just fucking work with me here.
Came out in 1999. It was not the first in the genre. The MMORPG was not the one to bring it right into mainstream. I think World War... The fuck does that have to do with anything? You've got like weird Tourette's. I would like to blow drum in yeah. It's not verbal, it's just motion. You've got kinetic Tourette's. Anyway, my game came out in 1999. Not the first in the MMORPG genre. Not the one bringing the mainstream. That was World of Warcraft years later. But it was the first one in 3D and definitely made a lasting impact on I'd say the genre, and I think in some ways multiplayer in general.
Yeah, created the worst genre ever created, yes.
It was EverQuest.
Evercrack.
Very addictive game. As I said,
game the government tried to ban 5 times. Never worked, because they were like,
Because they don't understand games.
They don't understand televisions.
Yeah, a bunch of old people going, what are the kids doing? Oh, I hate that.
Damn kids these days, they're hipping and they're hopping.
Yeah, actually one of the rare instances where I got into something at the ground floor. Normally I've the bandwagon has gone and passed by and broken down. They've stripped it for parts and made new bandwagons out of it. And I'm finally like, hey, I'm going to check that out. This is actually one I got into maybe just a few months after it was originally released. And it was, I was thinking the reason that it kind of stood out for me, it was unlike anything we'd ever seen. Up to this point, like I said, 1999, we're playing the 64, I think PlayStation come out. We had not seen, I don't think, multiplayer of this scope before that. Like, I played, I think the most I ever done is, maybe Diablo, playing on Battle.net. Which, that you get, maybe 4 or 5 players on a map going through and playing basically a single-player game just with a few other people around. Mm-hmm. Not even with each other necessarily. You could be down, 8 levels on the dungeon and they're in the first couple floors clearing out what you missed. But But yeah, EverQuest was, in its heyday, populated. Yeah, you would log on in prime times, and the servers could hold up to 3,000 people on a server. There would be several servers jam-packed you couldn't get onto. It's a very fun game based on heavily on Dungeons and Dragons, that kind of gameplay. There's a lot of stuff in there originally that the only reason it was in there is because Dungeons and Dragons had it. I remember there originally being a spell called Sense Magic that you could learn at early level playing as a mage class or some sort of spell user. And like, okay, I got Sense Magic. What do I do with it? Oh. Eventually they changed it to True North because it really didn't serve a purpose. Why was it in there? Because it was in Dungeons and Dragons. That's where a lot of the inspiration came from. As I said, this is technically a Sony game. It was released by Variant Interactive.
Oh, okay.
Which was basically those guys got together. They were all working kind of forward with Sony. They formed Variant Interactive to release this game. I think it's also for a while being handled by 989 Studios. If you remember that, 989 Studios.
They still exist in some format.
I think they move more towards like sports games and stuff.
Yeah, I think so.
Heard them. But it's distributed by Sony Online Entertainment. It's like I said, very fun game.
If you didn't mind grinding.
It wasn't. Well, that
was some of the inventors of the grind games right there.
Well, actually, I'll say I was looking this up, and World of Warcraft came out. Several years after this came out, and that's the game brought MMORPGs to the mainstream. Some of the guys that designed that were EverQuest players, like guild guys who are big active in some of the guilds. There kind of got moved on, like, hey, I'm be really good. They kind of designed a different version of this using a lot of stuff they had learned playing EverQuest.
I see. So EverQuest kind of became the mother.
It is the granddaddy of a lot of the MMO games that we play nowadays.
Which is funny because a lot of people would argue that Warcraft is the mother.
No. All right. Well, as I was saying though, like back in 1999 or so when I played it, it was a lot of fun. I think the developers of the game were learning this kind of gaming. Mm-hmm. The gamers were learning it, and it was a lot of fun. The biggest thing about that game was the community. Mm-hmm. I have so many fond memories of just grouping up. I'm not a multiplayer kind of person. I prefer single player normally.
He has absolutely no social skills whatsoever.
Nor do I desire to have any. Go talk to people. Why?
Do I have to?
But yeah, some of my fondest memories were grouping up with some people, and there's a kind of like early dungeon in this game called Blackborough, Home of the Gnolls, which I'm sure there's some nerds out there going, yeah, but I'm not going to explain it to you if you don't know. Just look it up if you want to, if you care. But yeah, camping out in Blackborough with these people, and you'd have to clear out a room, and you could stay in there, and occasionally new monsters would spawn in there, and you holding down that room and just chatting with everyone in your group. It's so much fun. My fondest memory of this game, though, actually is a single-player experience I had. I play as a rogue character, and anytime I'm playing an RPG, I go with the rogue or thief or whatever.
King of the douchebags.
That kind of sneaking around, backstabbing. That's my play style.
And it shows, doesn't it?
Well, if you play as a rogue, you get two abilities: hide and sneak. Hide makes your character model vanish from the world and makes you undetectable if you do it right. As you learn on, a lot of times you press hide and the game's like, no, you sucked. You suck at that. Don't even try. So you gotta work at it. Sneak, kind of same thing. You move slower, but you're harder to detect. I guess the detection radius for enemies is reduced or whatever. I'm not sure what the mechanics are, but if you could use them in tandem, if you hid first and then sneaked, if you did both successfully, you could move around invisible. You moved at a snail's pace, but at the same time, nothing could see you. And I figured this out when I was playing one day. And I decided, how far can I go this way? Now, as it originally stood, there was 3 continents. The biggest one was the middle, called Antarctica, and I was playing in Freeport, which is all the way on the east side of the map. To get to where I wanted to go to, is basically I crossed the map. I went from Freeport to the Common Lands to Highhold Pass to
Neil,
all these places.
Neil,
yeah,
your gay is showing.
Basically,
also, your dick's hanging out. I thought that was a little odd, but
which one are you more concerned about?
You're gay.
But basically, I crossed this map, hidden, moving at a snail's pace, so freaking frightened because a few things could still see you. You could usually spot them from a distance because they're bigger things like giants and stuff. But just to make it from one side of the world to the other, like I said, at a snail's pace. And then I finally get to the other big city, Kanos or Quinos, however you want to say it. I'm not even sure how they pronounce it. I've watched videos about this, and it goes several ways.
Sorry, folks. Mine was about Nazi teddy bears and like squirrels and Jews and pissing on things.
I felt accomplished though as I got there. I get there, like, okay, I'm gonna hang out here. Then I go north a little bit and hang out with all the barbarians are, and it's awesome. But you know, a strange thing happened is as I was doing this for a while, I actually got homesick playing as this character. So once again, hide and sneak, snail's pace back across all these areas to get back to my hometown. And it felt awesome to do that.
No, wait, do you mean you got homesick as your character got homesick? Or do you mean you got homesick as you as a human being got homesick for a digital creation?
Yeah.
I should punch you in the throat.
As for other criteria, like how well does it represent the genre, it was one of the early foundations of the MMORPG.
And now it would be considered archaic,
Mm-hmm.
just like the rest of them. Isn't it sad how... Even in the era of retro gaming, we still have a name for the old games. Like, they still have as good as they were, they're still considered these retro old, not even compared, but yet, without that foundation, without the MMORPGs and the platformers and the little shitty little racing games, they were just going in a circle on an overview map.
No.
None of the other ones would even exist.
Mm-hmm. Well, as for can you still play the game today?
Nope.
Technically, yes.
Well, you can play it, just don't work.
No, it's still the game is still out. It's actually been out almost 20 years now. It's basically.
I thought the servers got shut down.
Oh no, it still runs. It's kind of like the Simpsons of gaming in a way.
They haven't understand that they're over. They just keep going.
Well, they came out. They kind of bottled lightning. Even the developers, they've tried making other games past this. It's not working for them.
So basically, it's still out. There's still the same 5 players playing it.
They stumbled across this. Like I said, in its heyday, it was huge.
Oh yeah,
tons of people playing it.
I remember I told you. I remember old people at the Ford dealership I worked at talking about, and I mean old guys talking about, I can't wait to go home and play Evercrack tonight. Are you kidding me?
I would get up early before school just to go fishing in that game. And fishing was not like an involved thing. Like you got to cast out and reel. Like basically, you stood by water, you pressed the fishing button, and you waited and see what you caught. But I loved it. It was fantastic.
Kind of an opening into his mentality here, folks. It's this when fishing and not mind you, not doing anything, pressing a single button and going, yeah.
Usually while I was fishing, I'd press the sense heading button to work that skill up. But anyway, yeah, it's still playable. It is never gone away. Mm-hmm. That being said, though,
it's never been updated.
They ruined. At the same time, once again, this is a Sony. Sony took over everything for a while. Now it's having to handle Daybreak Games, which Sony eventually put up for sale. But basically what ended up happening in this game is they tried doing too much with it. They had a good thing. A lot of people prefer classic EverQuest, which is the original game, up to the first 2 expansions, Runes of Kunark and Scars of Elias. They love those games. The 3rd expansion came out, Shadows of Luklin, and they started doing too much with it. They opened up a bazaar where as a character you could, whatever you had that you want to sell, you go here. Basically you make yourself an NPC with whatever you're selling, people come up to you and buy it. Mm-hmm. This was all previous stuff the community had previously handled. There's a part of the game called the East Commonlands, and there's a tunnel in there, and people will gather in there with all the efficiency of a third world market, hawking whatever wares they had. What am I looking for? It worked. People figured it out. Then the game designers go, well, we're going to do it better than you and not do it better. Same with they eventually introduced the Plane of Knowledge, which kind of acted as a hub between all the starting areas. You go just outside your starting city, and there's a little thing there. You click on it, and you get transported to the Plane of Knowledge, where you can go to any other place. That big journey I had, meaningless, because now you don't have to do that.
Which kind of definitely, I would say, takes some of the fun out of a game.
It made this huge world that you had so much smaller.
Yeah, especially because part of a game like that too is. It's going to be that okay, well, I got to go from here to there. That's a long-ass journey, and there's going to be a lot of problems in between. So I've got to prep. I've got to make sure I'm ready to go. That's kind of part of the game, and when you take that out and be like, okay, just warp.
You got to be cautious about it, because it used to be if you died somewhere, your body was there. You get brought back to wherever you're bound at with nothing, absolutely nothing. If you want any of that shit back, you gotta cross there, which chances are you probably died somewhere where some nasty shit was.
And now you're gonna show up naked.
Uh-huh. So, now, I think in this game, if you die, you just back to wherever you were with all your stuff. Like, there's no penalty anymore.
Which I think that's a big thing.
That's
too,
what you see in a lot of games now. They've taken out of.
Well, I still say the you get here's my thing too. And I've been looking at this. I've been thinking about this a lot lately in terms of games and how they've kind of. I somewhat feel they've lost their way. Some of these games that they try to make, like PUBG, is a big one.
We'll get back to that. I'm gonna just finish up with my.
Hurry the fuck up!
Let's say, well, besides that, you can still play the game as it is now. They've added a ton of. They still come out with expansions for this, but I want to say the biggest thing is the community is not there anymore.
Oh no, they're all in Warcraft now.
If they probably moved on to other things beyond.
Or
that.
They got families and grew up.
Yeah. Children take away so much of your video game time. They suck. Daddy, you wanna what? I'm trying to get this thing.
You wanna go? You wanna come play with me? No. You're boring.
I'm shooting lasers here. What do you got? A dolly? Ooh.
Right? Look at my Barbie. Shut up.
But beyond like just the official version of the game, there's also several emulators trying to run the classic version. I think Project 1999 is the biggest one, but at the same time, the community's probably just not there. It's not this. You're not going to be playing the same game it's not the game that I enjoy.
They're trying to keep alive a game that ain't alive no more.
In a way, yeah.
They've basically got a game on life support, and somebody needs to tell them to pull the plug.
When I say several expansions, I think almost 10 years ago, they released a new starting race and a new starting city that everyone could start at. It used to be if you were playing as this race, you would be limited to this city. Barbarians started here.
Fucking racist.
They started a new starting city, Crescent Reach,
where a game with segregation. Doesn't that feel nice, people?
They started a new starting city that everyone could start at. Why would you do that? Well, if your player numbers are dwindling, you can't have a person over here, a couple of people here. Just move them all in one spot so they can group together. They've done a lot of server merges, instead of having...
That is a sexy series of words right there. Server merges. Rolls off the tongue. It's nice. Server merge.
It's going to be a new character in the next game I play. I'm Server Merge.
Server merge.
Yeah, there's a lot of signs that the player base is dwindling, but apparently still active enough that people are... There are some diehard fans of the game. They're still out there playing it, but it's like I said, it's not the same game that I'm playing. That I grew up playing that I have fond memories of. I've tried going back to it a few times. Usually it starts with me watching that video I showed you. Did you ever actually watch it?
Which one?
Has anybody here seen my corpse? It's a good video. Like, even if you don't understand the game, it's still a catchy song and whatnot.
Has anybody here ever seen my corpse?
Well, that used to be something that you'd see screamed out in zones. Because it used to be, if you died, these zones were massive, but a lot of stuff looked alike, and shit, where was that at? The smart players all had a location hot button program, so if something was about to kill you, hit location, and it would give you exact coordinates where you were at. So you just had to figure out where that was again, and hope that whatever it was that killed you had moved on at this point.
Or something else killed him.
Yeah.
Now, could you lose your stuff to another player if you were killed and it was laying there?
No, unless you're playing on a PvP, but your character expired after a while. The time it took to expire.
Oh, so you actually had a amount of time to find that. Okay, nice.
Yeah, it was one of those
shit.
A classically hard game, which I think is what we're about to get into now.
Oh, yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us. If you, as always, like, subscribe, share.
Go down in the comments.
Love us.
Go down in the comments. Let us know what your game is that you really loved or obsessed with, have fond memories of, would love to play again at some point.
Also, remember, check out Just Us Few Motorcycle Club for their, maybe potentially do a donation, help them out, see what they're about. They do a lot of work with people in the community. So, and also, Frank, love you, taking care of you.
I'm very serious. I'm trying to not laugh at you just said doo-doo.
Doo-doo.
Not working. Actually, here's an idea I had. Give us a topic, and we will tear the shit out of it. Anything, if it's something we like, generally, we will make fun of it and tell you what's wrong with it. What are you thinking about doing something like that?
I love that idea.
Yeah, so if you're watching...
Frankly, very much I like, so really to be easy.
If you're watching, go down to the... I must drop my phone.
All right, topics Canada, America, gotcha. Topics Canada, double gotcha. Topics the French, no.
Shit, you're not even making us try at this point, aren't you?
How about the French? The only one I got for that is I got a couple of French rifles for sale.
Never fired.
Never fired, dropped once.
Yeah, but yeah, if you have anything that you want to see us make fun of, just let us know and we'll do it a bunch.
Each other. Although I'm pretty sure we do that enough.
Yeah.
That's called a normal episode. Fat Jesus.
Look at everything to work with here. Just fuck it. This part we can do an episode on.
And this part we could do an episode on. Or actually, right here, this region there. You do have nice tits. I mean, it's.
Yeah, no, I can make a smiley face.
See, that tells me that at some point you've actually done that not here. That was a good one, though. All right, everybody. Have a good day. Have a good time. Love you.
We'll be back next week doing something.
Bye. Touch it.
Quiet on set.
Hold on, I gotta get naked.
Welcome back. He's Neil, and he's Bill. And Random Tangent starts now. Now.